Have you ever booked a trip based on some absolutely stunning photo, only to show up and find out the reality was, well, a little different? Today, we're going to look at what happens when the digital tools that are supposed to help us plan that perfect vacation actually lead us down a digital dead end. We're going beyond the glossy brochure to explore what smart tourism really means. And you'll see the answer has a lot less to do with pretty pictures and way more to do with raw data. Right? It's a great question. Is it just a fancy website, a slick new app, or is it something deeper, something about information that actually works for you in real time, right when you need it the most? To figure that out, we first have to understand the dream that's being sold. You've heard this kind of language before. It's pure marketing magic. Phrases like magic season are designed to sell a dream, and it's often funded by our own tax money, promising these seamless adventures and perfect Instagram-ready moments. But what happens when that magic just vanishes the second you arrive? And then there's the cold, hard reality. This quote, it comes from a community report about a major tourism project in Sweden. And wow, it paints a very, very different picture. It just reveals this deep, frustrating gap between the promise of the brochure and what's actually happening on the ground. So what went wrong here? To really get to the bottom of this disconnect, we need to look at a specific case where a huge investment and even bigger promises led to what you could only call a complete digital dead end. Okay, so let's look at the Stockholm Archipelago Trail. On paper, it sounds like a fantastic project. But in reality, the numbers tell a story of completely broken promises. They ordered 135 information signs, but about a third of them have just vanished. Poof, gone. 7 million kroner, that's over €500,000, was set aside for things like shelters and barbecue pits, but many of them are simply not there. But the thing that's truly missing is the data. As a visitor, you can't just pull up a map and check if that shelter you're hiking towards is a real place or just a ghost in the system. You know, this isn't just about one project that went sideways. The story of the Archipelago Trail really pulls back the curtain on a fundamental conflict that's right at the heart of modern tourism. It's this clash between two totally different ways of thinking about information. This comparison really gets to the core of it. On the left, you've got the brochure model. It's static, it's siloed, and it basically traps information inside of PDFs that are out of date the second you hit publish. But on the right, you have the ecosystem model. It's dynamic, it's data-driven, and it's all powered by APIs. Now, think of an API as like a universal adapter. It lets all these different apps and services plug into the same single source of truth, the same up-to-date information, which creates a totally seamless and accurate experience for everyone. This is it. This is the main takeaway. The future of smart tourism isn't about making more beautiful PDF brochures. No, it's about building an open and accessible data infrastructure so that anyone, whether you're a local entrepreneur or a huge global travel company, can innovate and create useful, real-time tools that visitors actually want. And here's the good news. This isn't just some theory. There's a powerful blueprint for this data-driven approach that's already being rolled out all across Europe. It's setting a whole new standard for what it means to be a truly smart destination. The key idea here is what the EU calls high-value datasets. Basically, this is the foundational information that makes a modern society run. Things like real-time public transport schedules, detailed weather forecasts, official hiking trail maps, the locations of public services. A recent EU directive actually mandates that this data has to be made publicly available, for free, through APIs. And why? Because when this data is open, it becomes this incredibly powerful engine for innovation and public good. And this is already happening. I know this slide from a European Commission report looks a little dense, but it highlights a really important point. Countries like Estonia and Finland are absolutely leading the way. They're not just, ticking a box to comply with the law. They have a real culture of data transparency that's already building the exact kind of smart, responsive tourism ecosystems we've been talking about. And this brings us right back where we started, back to Sweden, where there's this fascinating and, as it turns out, incredibly costly paradox playing out. I mean, think about it. Sweden is known all over the world as this tech-savvy, digitally advanced nation. So you've got to ask, why, according to a report their own government commissioned, is it falling so far behind its Nordic neighbors when it comes to open data? What is holding them back? Well, the cost of not acting is absolutely staggering. A report from Sweden's own national mapping agency estimates that by keeping all of this crucial data locked away, the country is losing somewhere between 10 and 21 billion Swedish kroner. That's up to 2 billion euros every single year. And this isn't just about tourism, not by a long shot. This chart shows how that value is spread across the entire economy. We're talking about a massive, untapped economic potential that could be fueling innovation in tech, streamlining public services, and just building a more efficient, data-driven society. So when you look at it this way, the failures of the Archipelago Trail aren't just about a few missing signs. They're a real-world symptom of this bigger, document-based mindset that is leaving billions in potential value on the table year after year. But what happens when the official, top-down projects fail to deliver? What if the community just decides to take matters into its own hands? This quote from that community report, it just says it all. The official process is this long chain of PDFs and text documents, and it all ends with these glossy marketing films for Instagram, with almost no actual, usable dynamic data being created anywhere in between. Now, look at what the community built instead. Using open platforms like OpenStreetMap and Wikidata, they created the very thing the official project couldn't: a living, breathing digital tool. It pulls in real-time ferry schedules. It offers information in hundreds of languages because it links to other open data. It maps the actual, verified locations of toilets and fresh water. It even pulls in crowdsourced data on biodiversity, so you can see what animals and plants have been recently spotted on the trail. This isn't a brochure, it's a dynamic travel companion. This is the power of an open ecosystem in action. It's that simple. When data is open, communities and businesses can step in to build the valuable, smart, and responsive services that visitors actually need. And honestly, they can often do it faster, cheaper, and better than these big, siloed, top-down projects. So, what is the future of travel? Is it the static, perfectly curated image on a brochure? Or is it a dynamic, sometimes messy, but incredibly powerful journey that's built by a community with open data as its foundation? The choice, it seems, is between a picture of a place and the place itself.